Guys, let's get started. Let's get started, okay? So, you know what? I'm really happy you guys are here this morning. You know why? Because this career talk is for you. You know, it's all about you. It's about your career, financial goals, and dreams. That's what it's all about. In fact, turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 19. And it's actually not just my idea. It's God's. Come on in, Ramika. We're trying to have everybody sit over here as possible, sit next to Hannah there. So guys, Ecclesiastes 5, verse 19, look at God's plan for our lives. Moreover, when God gives any man wealth and possessions and enables him to enjoy them, to accept his lot and be happy in his work, this is a gift of God. So this is what it's about. It's about having a career where you can find satisfaction and happiness, okay? So, right now, I want you to think about what would be a career dream for you or a real huge victory in your personal finances. Think about that for a minute. That's why we're here. It's for you. This class is for you. What would that be for you? Actually, I want to have you write it down. So if you've got pen and paper, please write this down. What would be your huge career dream or personal financial victory, or you say you're working on a side hustle, you're working on your passion project. What would that be? Write a book, whatever. Get a master's degree. Now, the next question is, where would you love to see yourself in 12 months? 12 months. A year from now, where would you love for that to be? Let's just say we could snap our fingers, it's a year from now, and you've hit all your goals. What would that look like? Think about that. Okay, a year from now, you are just crushing this thing and you're on it. Okay? Now today, if I could share with you two things that will help you get there, that each of you can do today, starting today, would that interest you? Yes. All right, well, let's get started. Now, you've got your dream, you've got your goal, right? If you would, turn over to Matthew 22 with me. You've got your goal. You wrote down your goal, your dream, your plans for your financial success. And go to Matthew 22, verse 15. So you've got some great ambitions and dreams. You can just put them up here, Carol. Just leave them here for now. We haven't got there. So you have this great career ambition. Well, think about Jesus did too. What was his? Save the world, right? Not bad. I mean, that's pretty big. Jesus is going to save the world. Did he have obstacles? Yeah, he did. So you're going to have obstacles. You got your dream. You got your 12-month plan, but you might run into some obstacles too. Let's look at Jesus here. He's our role model. Matthew 22, verse 15. And the Pharisees went out and laid plans to trap him in his words. They sent their disciples to him along with Herodians. Teacher, they said, we know you're a man of integrity and you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by men because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, knowing their evil intent, said, you hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin used for paying the tax. They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, whose portrait is on this, and whose inscription? Caesar's, they said. And he said to them, give to Caesar what's Caesar's, and to God what's God's. When they heard this, they were amazed, so they left him and went away. Wow. This goal stuff is great, Mike. 1 year sounds great, but Monday when I get to the office, who knows what's going to happen? Right? Obstacles are going to be in my path everywhere I go. It might even be on the way home from lunch today. I might get in a fight with my wife and, I'm going to get way off track of any of this motivation you're talking about. But Jesus had the presence of mind to really stay focused on his goal, right? And he dealt with this situation perfectly. Well, how can we do that? Okay, you have your goal, you have distractions. Well, God in his wisdom gave us a brain that has, it's called the reticular activating system in it, okay? That's your ability to focus. You guys ever experience this? You go buy a pair of shoes, you buy a red pair of shoes, maybe the girls, you go buy a red pair of high tops, you found them in the store, or high heels, you're like, these are so cool, and you go to the office and you notice, wait a minute, some other girls have red high tops, and did they just go buy them because you bought yours? Or you buy a black convertible car, and you're all of a sudden, wait a minute, look at these other, you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. What is that? Did they just appear? No, they didn't appear. What's going on? Your brain Your brain has been able to separate out everything else just so you can focus. We bought these yellow chairs online. And I'm kind of like, yellow? Okay. Now Carol and I are out and the commercial pops up and we see him on a commercial. We're like, look, we got the yellow chairs, you know. So what are we doing? We're justifying that decision we made. So PhD Shannon Ravine, who specializes in neuropsychology, says that the RAS is neutral. So if you feed it confidence or failure, it will get to work. You know where we're going with this. You know where we're going with this. You had your one-year goal, but did you have doubts and fears and insecurities that started to already come up in your mind? Or maybe you're even sitting there back there thinking, Mike, this sounds great, but you don't know my situation. Well, if you let your mind dwell on that, that's where it's going to go. And she says now successful people have trained their brains to focus on a successful plan and how to get there. And notice what their mind goes to work, they feed it that. And then we can relate to that, right? Who's maybe thought of a book they want to write or a talk they want to give or a meeting they're going to have at work, and then you start getting ideas, right? Anybody want to share an example of that? What you're going to, yeah.
So I make a lot of products, kind of like a side hustle.
Okay.
But so anyways, lots of different ideas with that, and I just don't have time.
Yeah, but once you get the idea right, lots of ideas come flooding in. Yeah, we can all relate to that, right? So that's what happens, right? We get hey guys, so we get the idea because your reticular activating system now, you gave it a good thought and now it's going to work, okay? But then your other side of your brain says, yeah, if I have this, I've always struggled with, getting things done, and, like my brother said, I'm just not, fast enough, and, I've always been a C student, and so now I've got this other part of me that's like, I got these ideas, but now I got to, now I'm tripping myself up, okay? Well, the PhD told us that, but the Bible tells us that, right? And what does Philippians 4:8 say? Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is admirable, whatever is pure, whatever is excellent, whatever is, So we have to rewrite that story in our mind, and so now I want you to do that right now. I want you to write down, if you've had some doubts toward your lifetime goal, your career, I want you to write out, what would be different? How can I change that story I've told myself? Well, I've always made $35,000. I would love to make $65,000, but I've just been making $30,000 the rest of my life, so I guess there's nothing else I can do about it. So I rewrite that to say, well, maybe there's a degree or some skills, or I need to go look at a different job, or talk to my friends who make $50,000 or $70,000. How do I ask for advice? How do I get there? And then start, focusing on that. Okay, you guys with me? Does that make sense? And it really works. It really works. Why? Because remember I said I'm going to show you two things today how you're going to get to this goal. What's the only thing you can focus on in your whole life is yourself, right? You can't blame your boss, your company, your paycheck, the cubicle mate, your manager, the customer who blew you off. You can't blame them. The only thing you can focus on is yourself. The only thing you can change is yourself. So, this guy wrote a whole book about it. The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Okay, whole book, several examples. He says, perception, chapter 1. What is perception? It's how we see and understand what occurs around us, and we decide those events, and we decide what those events will mean. Our perceptions can be a source of strength or great weakness. So it's how you perceive them, okay? So training yourself that a lot of times they don't have emotional meaning. They don't mean, but you've got to tell yourself that, all right? He goes on to talk about all the companies that were started during the Great Depression or the most recent financial collapse. Wonderful big companies, LinkedIn, for example, started during the recent financial crisis. They didn't sit around thinking, well, what's going to happen to us? They just got to work on what their product specialty was, and all of a sudden they build the business. Why? Because they're providing a product or service that people need, and they're just focused on that. They didn't sit around thinking, well, what will happen if all this goes on? And they list several other good examples. So you guys with me that all you can really focus on is yourself. God gave you a part of your brain that wants to do that. It wants to bring opportunities your way. It wants to bring success your way. But you have to decide, okay, I got to work hard on myself and not let my brain derail me toward my goals. Find those opportunities that come my way, feed on that, and then find more information out there to not make excuses for letting yourself off the hook for what you want to accomplish. Okay? So can everybody do that? Yeah, that's step one. Now, to finish this point, write out what your next 2 or 3 steps would be toward your plan. Remember, we had your goal, your 12-month goal, where your dream would be. Then we had that self-doubt creep in because, I've always been this way and I've never been able to write a book. I've got all these ideas, I just haven't been able to figure out how to get online and do a YouTube video. But, Princess over here, 14-year-old who's never even put on makeup, she's got 12,000 views on her video. Why can't I do that? Well, she opened up YouTube, put the makeup on, and pushed send, and now she's got 12,000 views. Well, Tom and I were talking about, he likes furniture, Maybe that's something he could do but again, take the action, do it, and put yourself out there, and let God continue to bring you ideas and opportunities, and you step into those, you keep walking into those, and let God bless you, and don't let yourself off the hook. The obstacle is the way. Work on you first. Okay, so we can all do that, right? Now you got your plan. So there's the first step. You guys are on your way to, really think about it. What else can you really do? And visualize what you want. Figure out how you're going to get there. Let your brain go to work. Let God bring you opportunities. Take steps toward those, and then overcome the obstacles and see that you're just like anybody else. You can be successful, depending on what you want to accomplish, what that is for you. So you've got your plan, your steps. You're going to rewrite any negative thoughts. You're going to have that in your journal. You're going to memorize Philippians 4:8 and change that internal script. Then let that ARS continue to operate to show you what your next step is. Okay, you say, Mike, that's great. That sounds really good, but you don't know what happens when I get to work. I got all these crazy people in my life. I have people I can't get along with. I've tried. Okay, what's our second point? Second point is you have to work well with people. So first point was work hard on yourself. That's all you can really do, right? And we showed some ideas how to do that. The second thing, guys, this really works. So the only other thing you can really do is learn to work well with people. Let's look at Jesus' example. Remember? Now, what was his response? He's got this mission to save the world. He's got people accusing him. They've set it up such that he had to be so careful what he said, right? He would either indict himself and, take allegiance with the Romans, or he would side with the Pharisees and turn off everybody else, or he'd go a lot of different routes. And he's dealing with a lot of different people, right? He has someone who's complimenting him. Tom, you're so amazing. You're so awesome. And he's got somebody else coming over here, accusing him. Then he's got people waiting to see has Dan got his stuff together? What's he going to say? Because we're going to trap him. Guys, these are high-stakes conversations. Do we all have them? You're not trying to maybe shave the world is not on your shoulders, but maybe just getting a meeting done on time so you can satisfy your direct reports. Or you've got an interview, and you've got 2 or 3 personalities sitting across from you in the interview. Or you've got a spouse or a child who you just, sparks fly when you try to connect with them. Well, look at Jesus' response. He satisfied everything. What does he do? Let's look at his response. He says, show me the coin. The use for paying taxes. They brought him the coin. Whose portrait's on this? What is the inscription? So first of all, he's absorbing all this attack from the crowd. He knows he has a fake person complimenting him. He's got someone trapping him. And we know that a high-level conversations we all want to have, we need to engage the other person. So what's the first thing you do? He gets them involved and he asks them a question. That's the first tip we can really get to guys through high-level, successful conversations with people that we want to connect with. We've got to be able to ask a good question at the right time. Okay? Then he got them involved in the process. Give to Caesar what's Caesar's, and to God what's God. So as adults, we have to get those people we're trying to connect with involved in our conversation. It can't be us telling them, or we can't sit back so quietly, I'm just going to be a good Christian and show up at work and maybe I'll win the lottery and I'll write a book and my disciple will show me what to do. No, Jesus was right in the middle of it, okay? Then he gave him the perfect answer. What was the answer? So you've got to have data like Dan. Dan's an IT guy. When Dan goes into a meeting, he's supposed to have data. Tyler is a real personal guy, so he likes to have people in the interaction. So we all run into that. We have to satisfy different needs at different times. We have to be aware, like Jesus, of who the audience is. So he gave the perfect answer. Give to Caesar what's Caesar. So he satisfied the technical guy like Dan. He engaged the crowd like Tyler would like to do. And Carolyn's a school teacher. He got them involved so they saw the process. You know, they were engaged in the whole process, so Jesus met all those needs. You're like, yeah, Michael, how am I going to do that? You've never met my boss. You know, he's a data junkie and won't even look me in the eye. The other guy who runs our meeting, you know, he's so off the charts. He talks so much, we never get the meeting started on time. You guys relate to that? Well, Jesus handled it perfectly, and I'm going to show you how to handle it perfectly. Would you guys like that? All right, here's point 2. All right, I need everyone to get one of these. Let's see, there's 3 for you guys. Whoops. Could you see? Trying to get everybody one of those. Let's see. We're going to have enough. Carolyn's got, okay. All right. He got an extra one back over here. Okay. Married couple might to share one. Could you guys maybe share one? Tyler and Evan, give one over there. And those guys share. Does everybody else have one? Carly, you need one? Okay, you guys share. You guys maybe share. Okay. You got anybody else? We got a couple more down there. We'll have to kind of. So Hannah, can you give yours? You've done this a little bit before. Tyler, you've got going to share one. Everybody can at least look. Okay, you have to kind of do this together. Okay, guys. So here we go. You're working on yourself. You got your goal. You're fired up. But now, how's God really going to bless you? Through people. God blesses us through relationships, through people, marriage, parenting, kids, and the office. How many of our jobs involve people? Well, this point applies to you then. Okay, on this axis, look at the vertical axis. Right now, are you outgoing or reserved? Just circle either you're outgoing or reserved. Not that you'd want to be, not that you hope to be. Today, what would someone say about you? Are you outgoing or reserved? Circle one of those. All right, everybody did that? Now, on the horizontal axis, are you more task-oriented as a person, or are you more people-oriented? Okay. Do you get more energy and satisfaction out of just finishing a task, or do you like to have people around to, you know, to accomplish things? Just circle one. All right, everybody should have 2 circles on there, right? Yeah. And if you're sharing with somebody, look over, maybe use a different color ink or start or something. You're all going to be a little different. But if you're just sharing, couples, you can do it, but okay. Now, circle the letter that's in your quadrant. There's a letter. You've got 2 things circled, right? So, for example, I'm outgoing, and I love being around people, outgoing and people, so I would circle an I, okay? Everybody done that? Okay. All right, now, you're like, what in the world is that? Okay. Well, this is the kind of person you are. Now, go to page 4 in your handout. This is not going to be exact science, but you kind of want to know. So, if you're an I, raise your hand. All right. If you're a D, raise your hand. If you're an S, raise your hand. If you're a C, raise your hand. Okay. This is not, this is really accurate, but everyone is a dominant 1, and then you have one that's kind of like your secondary. Most people are strong in 1, and the little secondary is their second 1. But at least we want to know your basic dominant 1. I do a complete computer-generated test that runs about 15 questions, takes about 2 minutes, that will print out exactly where you are. And this kind of explains a little bit about what we're trying to do here. If you look at page 4, this is the DISC model. And this is really just a communication style. It's not a psychological analysis. It's a style. It's a style. Look at the second paragraph. Each behavioral style, is different point of orientation. It's a focus that generates personal energy and motivation. So everybody there, page 4, second paragraph. Everybody with me? Everybody with me? Page 4, second paragraph. So this is what gets you excited. This is what motivates you on the job or in your marriage or when you hang out with disciples. This is, your basic orientation. Okay, let's look at this bottom one, the styles there. Dominant. You like problem solving. You like quick decisions. I always joke with my wife, I want to have a relaxed, chilled out conversation. She's like, okay, well, we got to fix a light bulb and I'm going to go help Tyler. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just, I want to talk and relax, So I get energy from the connection. She gets energy from, let's be decisive and get it done. You guys relate to that? You got people in your life like that? The steady. Who's the S in here? Okay. Who was my S? Raise your hand, S's. Okay. Does that make sense? You like a plan. You like a steady progress. Yeah. Can you share an example of that?
I like to know what I'm doing 6 months in advance.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Everything in life.
All right. How about my C? Who's a C? You like to follow procedures, detail oriented. Okay, Ramika, give me an example of that in your life, or how you relate to this.
It does take me a lot of time. Like I like to research a lot, and then after I've researched everything, I'll choose the best decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's people like Danica, unfortunately, out there in my life too. But I can't just go in and, hey, what's going on? She wants to a little more research, and I've lost. You know, she and I aren't connecting until I really open up the spreadsheet, show her the data, make my point. Then we can. You know, then she's more relaxed because she knows where I'm coming from. You guys relate to this?
Yeah.
People like that in your life? Okay. So remember, you're going to have people, sometimes one or multiple people, like Jesus did. So let's think a little bit more. Go over to page 21 now. And guys, the thing is, you have to practice with this. You have to practice with this, and really want to ask you to trust me here. It's not just like little surfacey communication things. These things start to become your character over time. You'll see that as you get to know people, spot people in the office, spot people you're trying to have good, especially in those high-stakes conversations where you only have a few minutes and it's over. What's our business world, guys? Today it's fast, right? On the iPhone, baba bing, you got a meeting, you talk to someone, you're done. You only get a few minutes to make that first impression. So, now we're on page 21 and 22. I'm going to give you some tips how to deal with those people. Okay? So, D, Ramika is a D. Ramika is a D, okay? C. Okay, she's okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so my D's, okay. If again, Ramika's in a business meeting, okay. If Deb's in a business meeting, if you want to talk to Deb, you know, what are some things on the right that you know that Deb was going to be important to Deb? If you look at the D list, and you want to have a conversation with Deb, you really want to try to connect with her on, let's say, you know, starting a class in children's ministry, or, you know, finishing a project at work. On the right, what are some things that would help you with her? Just someone help me out there. Get to the point. Tips. Thank you. Offer a solution. You guys relate to that? That person, you've lost them. You know, I call on doctors. If I spot a D, forget all my sales fluff. I just got to get right here because, bam, they're gone. And I can be, a lot of times I'm flapping the wings and all I see is their back because they're gone. Okay, you can all relate to that. Now, if you're dealing with an I, someone like what, Tyler, Rajan, Eddie Johnson, what do you want to do with them? Look on the right. When you walk, if they're in a meeting or they're a customer or they're your boss, what are some things on the right you want to make sure you're doing? Compliment. See? Affirmation. I'm one. We love that affirmation. Okay. Okay. Keep up a fast pace. You know, Eddie Johnson, what's Eddie Johnson? He's talking to you. You're his greatest friend in the world, but all of a sudden now he's Tom's his greatest friend, the fellowship. And, you know, he's gone. He's fast paced. Keep it moving with the eye. They're enthusiastic. They want, you know, focus on the big picture. Include brainstorming sessions. Get them involved. Get the gears going. You know, that's how the eye rolls, okay? You guys with me? Think about the eyes in your life. Great talkers, want to connect. Yes.
Just FYI.
Yes.
D's that work with C's will clash.
Yes. Yes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love them.
Okay.
Oh, Lord, I got one at work. I got one at work.
Okay. Okay. That's exactly right. Now you guys are seeing it. See how we're different. You guys can relate to that? If back to the I, if you're an I or your boss is an I and he's starting the meeting at 8 o'clock, what does that mean? There'll probably be 5 or 10 minutes of chit chat, small talk about the weekend, show baby pictures, you know, and that 8 o'clock meeting gets going about 8:15, and you're struggling because you've already booked 3 other meetings that day. You're kind of like, hello, I got to be somewhere. The opposite. What if your boss is a D, and he says, you know, what 3 examples do you have before we go in this customer, what we should do? Well, don't talk about the kids, the weekend, show them the fish pictures. Or if a customer or your boss comes out and says, you know, you got to get to the point. Okay, now what if an S, what if you're dealing with an S? Look to the right. Okay, We got your S. You're on page 22. Okay. You know, you got to demonstrate connection. Follow the steps. Okay. Acknowledge their support and follow through. If they're volunteering in children's ministry and they're an S, thank them for their ideas. Thank them for their opening, and they brought all their books from home, and they've got the agenda, they've got their Play-Doh, they've got the toys. They've thought through all the steps in the classroom. You know, thank them for their support. Thank them for being so thorough in their contribution to the room that day. What if you're dealing with a C? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, what's the C? Look to the right. How do you connect with a C? What's the third point? I love that. Give data in writing. My old boss, man, if you talk to him, you better have a spreadsheet or he doesn't even see you. You're invisible to him. I'd walk into a meeting, literally I drove 2 hours to meet him and for breakfast, and he has his laptop and iPad open, cursing that the emails aren't working, and he doesn't even acknowledge I'm there. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, I'm the I. I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, how was your weekend? You know, he was like, dang on, I can't get my dad. And I'm kind of like, do we hug, shake? I just sit down and, you know, I don't like, what do I do, you know? Because I didn't bring data, I didn't bring worksheets, I didn't bring Excel. I didn't even look at my email. And, you know, he's like, did you see this? I'm like, what is he so worried about? You know, you guys can relate? Yeah. Okay. So if you got a boss or meeting or Jesus, again, Jesus, it's open. What did Jesus do? He had the coin. Jesus had the coin. He said, who's the detail? Whose inscription's on it? He made them look at the coin. Now he's involving the C. So he gave the C the data, the detail to satisfy that curious mind. He's not going to, you know, so now, then he gave him the solution, the S person. He said, you decide, you know, you get involved. You know, so he really walked him through that. Okay. So now that's great. Okay, you guys are with me? You got the different types. Now how do you spot them? Because that'd be the key, right? If you can spot them ahead of time and know this, and you're gonna have some of these ideas in mind, well, how do you okay, now go to page 25. Now Jesus was perfect, and we're not quite there yet, but we can learn, again, there's only 4 types of personality, basic personality or communication type. That's what's easy, right? So you know yours. Now only you have to think about the other 3, right? I mean, I can spot an I. Tyler's like, hey, Rajan's talking on the phone, bouncing a baby, carrying on 5 conversations. That's Rajan. Eddie Johnson, you know, that's easy to spot, right? Yeah. Let's say whatever you are, all you have to do is be able to spot the other 3 in communication. And what we're saying here is when you can adjust, the goal is adjust who you are, not change. We're happy. Be who you are. God made you who you are for a reason. But put some of your energy into just adjusting so you can connect to other style. Okay, well, how do we spot those? This page is going to help us. Okay, the D and I at the top. Okay, the D and I. So the dominant person and the influential person, they have a quick pace. They're moving. Watch their body. They're flailing. They're moving. Again, you got Eddie, Rajan, Tyler's got, you know, the phone and 3 things going on. I took Tyler to the airport the other day, and Evan's there. He's on a conference call in the back seat, and I'm driving. He just left shooting a video at the company and has an interview going on next week, and he moved that weekend. You know, so, you know, that's your I. You just got a lot going on. So if you spot that pace, so quick pace is a D and the I. So what's the difference, though, between the D and the I? They're both quick pace. The D is decisions. Around my wife, around my daughter, we're on vacation, and Kathleen says, walk like you have a purpose. You know, we're all sightseeing. Yeah. So that would be Tyler and I, we're walking fast, but Kathleen's like, come on, she's telling us what to do. So the D, if Dave Eastman comes out in fellowship or Tom Cates, you kind of see the gears turning. They're chatting with you, but in the back of their mind, they're kind of, yeah. If Dave Eastman walks out, he's, hey, Tom, how's it going? But he's like, hey, we should paint the baptistry, you know. Hey, we should have choir practice 10 minutes earlier tomorrow. Hey, bro, good to see you. He, you know, nothing to pick on him, but like Tom Cates run 2 businesses, and he's an elder. Because he feeds on that energy. So if he say, hey, good to see you, how's it going? Just know in the back of his mind, he's a decisive person. So if you want to connect or have a question, get to it, all right? Now the C and the S, they have a little more deliberate pace. Their body language is, you know, John Eddington, walk up to the podium, right? John Eddington. Or Lee Boger. Lee, I know you're hearing this. Lee's very methodical, right? With Lee, you know. Okay, how are you? Okay, well, how was the quiet time? How's the Bible study, you know? Deliberate pace, Okay. Now, if their priority is people, they're an S. They're glad they got the classroom going. You know, reward, thank them for their contribution. If it's task, they're a C. Okay. So if they're deliberate or slower, if their priority is people, they're an S. If their priority is task, they're a C. So, yeah.
You can't see it on the, you can see it on your original, the D.
Okay.
You have to write that in.
What's that?
People have to write that in.
The D, the I, the.
You should have it though. 25, page 25.
Yeah, but maybe it didn't run off, it didn't copy, it didn't copy.
Oh, well, shame on that. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you can go back to your original diagram. Remember? So the D is enthusiastic movement. Okay, that's the top half of the graph. So if somebody's moving quickly, they're either a D or an I. If they have slower pace, then you know they're a C or an S. If they're task-oriented, so you got tasks to the left, people to the right. So just kind of visualize that. 4 quadrants. You got half people moving quickly, half people moving slowly. Of that half, some are task-oriented, some are people-oriented. So it's really helpful because remember, you're going to adjust your delivery, your information based on how you read that. Okay? Everybody with me? You don't have to be experts. I just want to paint. That's why I gave you guys all copies, and I'll make copies for more. Now go to page 28. You guys with me? Does this make sense? You see how it could help in interaction because we all deal with people. Remember that? Everyone's hands went up. Now, how do I adjust, modify my pace or priority? Go to page 28. So, guys, sometimes you got to increase your pace. You got to increase your pace. Sometimes you got to be more deliberate to slow down your pace. If Lee Boger, sorry Lee, if Lee's up here, just slow down your pace so you can connect. Okay. If Dave Eastman walks in, you better get to the point because he's moving on to something else. So pick up your pace with Dave Eastman. Slow down your pace with John Adenton or Lee Boger who comes in the room. If you're a boss, you're a customer, pick up the pace so you can connect or slow down the pace. And what's your priority? If you're dealing with an I, you better connect with Tyler about his weekend, what's going on. Before you jump into changing the agenda for the service, just connect them how the weekend, high five, then he feels more relaxed, then you can get on, The task person, for your C, have the data, have the details, change your orientation to the specific objective in mind. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Good point. Good point. Okay. So, yeah. So I want you guys right now to think of a person that you would like to communicate with better, or you have a little friction with, or you're not really on the same page with, you've had a little bit of an edge with. You love Jesus, maybe they love Jesus, or at least they're your boss, you're getting your paycheck from them, or they're a customer, you can't. What's that? Yeah. Guys, if it's your boss, he's not going anywhere. If it's customer, the customer is always right. So, if it's a young brother or sister you're trying to help, and you've tried everything, maybe you're just not, they're speaking a different language, They want tasks. Show me how to have a quiet time with what step do I do. You're like, just go out in the park and praise Jesus. That look like, they're like, what website do I go to? Okay, so when you right now think about that person and write down one of these tips back on the other 2 pages. Write down one of these tips you're going to use. First of all, is that person, what is their dominant trait? Are they an I, D, I, S, or C? And then go to the right column. Let's say my old boss was a strong C. Oh my gosh, wore me out. But he was my boss. He won't go anywhere. And I'm not going to leave. I have a good job. So he was a C, so I had to really practice some of these things. So right now, I want you guys to think about who that person is. Just think of one person. And think about one tip you can use. Now, once we're going to, I hate to say this word, we all hate it. We're going to role play to each other. Everyone turn to a partner and practice. Practice. Right now, I want you to practice. Tell the person, just tell them you're going to be an I, and I'm trying to connect with you. Just say, Tom, I want you to be an I, because the person I'm thinking of is an I. So you guys pair up. Anybody need a partner? I can be okay. Everybody, so go ahead and practice, and then I'll have someone share out. You know how we hate that at meetings? Okay, cool. All right. All right. Now, who wants to share out? Who wants to share out? Maybe like anybody get a little, queasy, a little nervous, feeling like, oh, I really have to try to talk to this person now. Try to do something different.
I
Okay.
don't want to talk. How dare you make me talk?
Anybody want to share kind of what they got from that?
Share away.
Tom is going to
I
go.
need to slow down when I'm speaking with my partner here and reason through and wait for an answer.
How long do you have to wait?
I love it. I love it. That's exactly right. Tyler.
The main difference between Evan and I, I'm an I, he's an S. So like I think and like to operate more like high level. Like I'm not very detail oriented. Like I don't like detail, but I like think like big picture, like you said. But like when I connect with someone like Evan, I have to remember to, kind of slow down and be a little more, I guess, methodical, but also kind of dig into the details a little bit than I would normally think. And so I have to kind of bring it down from like a 30,000 foot overview that I like to kind of see things and get down into the weeds a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So he's got to slow down. He's got to slow down. Anybody else want to share like kind of what their vibe was from that, or if they think about real world, who they might have to talk with in the fellowship or Monday morning? Any examples?
As a D, dealing with a C, my partner and a coworker at work, I need to stay focused and listen to what they have to say. They're going to say a long piece with data, with facts, and I've got to sit there and listen and wait until they're finished, and then I can respond.
I see the other D's nodding their head. Carolyn's a school teacher. The other D's are nodding their head. So, anybody else want to share like their experience with this?
So I'm an S, and I have to present to a D, right, at work. So I immediately am going to all these things on the right, make sure it's, to the point, it's offering a solution, it's concrete, it's, being ready to be asked challenging questions, about what it is that I'm about to present, So yeah, a lot of thought into getting to the point, but making sure I back up all, the point with data and, options.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent, excellent. Okay, Darius.
I was thinking about one of my coworkers, and I think I'm more of a D. I'm more of just competitive, like, hey, if you just do this, like, this will follow. And she's more of I, was an influencer, so she needs constant affirmation, like, hey, I'm doing a great job, and I'm just like, you just do the freaking I guess just how I think is like, hey, what we do isn't rocket science, like, so let's just get it done. But she needs that constant affirmation and constant like, hey, you're doing a great job, and just me engaging with her and really just showing like, hey, like it's just not about the numbers, like, hey, I guess expressing like I appreciate you, like, hey, I'm here for you, I'm in your corner. Apparently my wife.
So in your marriage, that might work too?
Yeah.
Oh!
I'm very much with my wife, like, can we just get to the point? It doesn't work. I get in a lot of trouble when I'm like that.
So Carolyn, share about our other night at having a McAllister's.
Okay, so we're at McAllister's, and Mike, he's just getting warmed up to relax after dinner. Well, Tyler's getting ready to move, and I planned to go over to help Tyler. So he's coming home after a 14-hour day at work. So I'm like, okay, so I've got the food to go. I'm gonna bring that to Tyler, and I've got tasks on my mind. I'm like, I want to leave, and so he was just warming up. He probably wanted to talk about the class tonight, and so I'm like, honey, I gotta go.
She didn't say that. She just stood up and left. Said, I'm leaving. Yeah, you're way more abrupt. See, the D. See, that's your D. See, that's the D. They don't have a choice. So like I say, guys, it starts out communication. It starts to bleed into your character quite a bit. By myself, we drove two cars. We drove two cars.
Well, I know that I got a, what do you call that, influencer? Like, he's not covering the details, he's going in.
Right.
I know he's not ready to move. He's going to be a hot mess to deal with it.
So we all get a text from Tyler right before midweek last week. Hey, I need help. I'm moving. He's had a month. We've all offered to help, but now,
Come on over, guys. Come on over. We'll get
okay.
it done.
Now it's now again if the I's running the meeting, if Tyler's running the meeting, just get a second cup of coffee, just get ready to relax. Yeah, but if a D's running the meeting, how's the meeting start if a D's running it?
It's very short.
Short and on time. What's that?
I'm here. It's the bedtime meeting. It's like, I'm here. Tell me what I need to know, because I don't really want to sit and listen to you. Like,
Right.
I could have told me this in the email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if Darius or Deb or Carolyn was your customer, your boss, your coworker, if they're running the meeting, don't be late and get to the point. Or you've lost them. And then you get that first chance to make one chance to make a first impression. Scary way, guys, this stuff can start to stick with it. Well, so-and-so, they're always late to the meeting, Well, so-and-so's not very good with data. We'll ask someone else to run this project. Oh, so-and-so, hey, we want someone to greet our new client. Or do a YouTube video for us, or, greet at the church. Well, where are my eyes, Okay, Carla, look at the smile on Carla, look at energy, So, there's not one is not better than the other. That's the beautiful thing. We're different. It's an energy level, all right? Just be aware. First, be aware of your space. Self-aware. I used to march in the old days at pharmaceuticals. We could march in and we'd bring food and I'd tell a joke and we'd have all the time in the world. Everybody would love us. Now I get kicked out. Now they don't want to talk to me. They're shutting down. So now it's and same with you guys, right? Fast-paced society. So this stuff is really that much more important. So, again, let's kind of pull this together. So, was that helpful? Yeah. Okay, so okay, Deb.
Thank you. How sweet of you to
Yeah,
acknowledge.
it's funny how the name just,
It just fits.
yeah.
A D, there's an unfortunate thing on a D a lot of times too. A D, if they need somebody to help, they will choose another D. It's not always the right choice. It is not always the right choice, but it's like an automatic, they will choose another D personality,
Okay,
just as a first thought.
yeah. Okay, so as we wrap up, I got some nice little cash. Remember I promised I tried to get you guys here with cash gifts. So, I only had 2 points. Who's the first one can tell me what they were? I only had 2 points. That's, well, you're my wife. I can't give it to you. What, Jacqueline?
To work on yourself.
Yep.
Focus on yourself.
And I'm a D and I'm telling you.
And with other people. All right. Oh, good job, Jacqueline. All right. So, guys,
Good job, Ferguson.
there you go. Woo! The Ferguson team. That's a Barnes & Noble's card to go to Barnes & Noble, get a cup of coffee, and find these awesome resources and read. Read about your career. Dream about your side hustle. Figure out how to pay off your student loans. Save to buy a house. Save to pay cash for a car. Barnes & Noble's is a wealth opportunity. A little secret, too. You can buy anything there. Go and take it. Read it. Don't read the whole thing. And return it in 7 days. It says on the receipt you can return it in 7 days. Take pictures of it, scan it in your computer. Got it. All right. What if? Yeah. So, DISC. Well, how's DISC going to help you? Someone raise their hand. Okay.
You learn to communicate well with other people regardless of how they communicate.
Awesome. She deserves a prize. All right.
All right.
So, guys, that's it. We're done. Just remember, you can reach your goals and dreams in a year from now if you just focus on these 2 things. Focus on your mind's ability to focus on your target, alleviate the distractions, and then work well with people. Use your DISC. Memorize people. In the fellowship now, I want you to go out in the fellowship. Seriously, I'm not joking here. Start observing quick pace, slow pace, priority task, priority people. Lee, you're going to have to edit a lot of this. But. Okay, so guys, in the fellow, so starting right now in the fellowship, just observe. God gave you 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth. Okay, be like Jesus in that intense situation. Just observe. Just take a deep breath. Instead of launching in or being quiet or high-fiving the person, just take a second and take it in and say, well, what are they? What is their personality style? What does their body language tell me? What's their words telling me? Now adjust my style, channel a little bit of my energy to adjust my style to meet the need. All right, guys, that's it I got. You guys are good.